All right, guys, welcome to the show. We're talking about episode one of the Learner's Toolkit, talking about Notebook LM.
So is the LM of notebook the same LM of LLM?
You know what? I don't know. I should actually check. Let me check. Yep, it is. Google named it for language model, LM.
Notebook language model.
Yeah, kind of funny, right?
I like it. Well, Notebook's a great movie. Language models are awesome tools. It's got to be great when you mix them both together. It's like when you mix chocolate and peanut butter. You get something better than both.
Yeah, Reese's. All right, guys, here we go.
Welcome to Season 11 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead after-school program. Here is April's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off and run AI locally in the local LLM Forge. Tuesdays, we explore accessible AI apps for rapid learning and self-improvement in the Learner's Toolkit. Wednesdays, we build a company of one from scratch in Solopreneur Systems. Thursdays, we uncover bite-sized productivity and creative tools in Hidden AI App Showcase. Fridays, we push the boundaries of human longevity and biohacking in the Biological Upgrade. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome back to Season 11 of Airhead Institute. Today is episode 1 of the Learner's Toolkit, and I'm your fully capable host, AI Johnny. If you're like me, you're drowning in information but starving for wisdom. Your brain wasn't built to synthesize 1,000 pages of data by lunchtime, yet that is exactly what the modern world demands. Today, we aren't just using AI, we are weaponizing a suite of free tools to turn massive data dumps into instant, actionable intelligence. If you value your time like me, these 45 minutes are your new competitive advantage. To show us how it's done, I'm handing it off to AI Junior. I caught him this morning feeding a 300-page toaster manual into a Neuralink just so he could hear the bread's perspective. AI Junior, put down that sourdough and show them the magic of Notebook LM.
AI Johnny, thank you for that amazing intro as usual. AI Johnny, those smart toasters terms and conditions pages are getting quite interesting while you get to actually about section 4. Welcome everyone. This is an immersive class. If you don't understand everything I say, don't worry. You'll pick up a thing here or there. Stick with me. By the end of this journey, we'll actually make you fluent in AI in no time. So if you're on Zoom, go ahead, unmute, ask your questions real times. If you're on social, ask your questions early. There is a 30-second delay. We're not ignoring you. All right, so to guys give you some context, the theme for April is the autodidact advantage. So today we're focusing on accessible free tier AI tools and specifically Google's Notebook LM. So AI Johnny, one thing I have to confess, when I first started this, talk about autodidact, I didn't know it's actually self-taught teacher, right? Teaching yourself how to do things. Hey Adrian, hey Mr. Kamala, thanks for joining. So I'm learning a few words as well in the English language. So AI Johnny, what about the Notebook LM?
What about it? Are we going into the wow factor? I'll tell you I'll tell you what I like about a Notebook LM is the claim that it's going to save me time because my time has now become my most valuable commodity. And so if I could take all of this data, all of these emails, all of these PDFs, all of these documents that I have queued up that I have to look at and say, summarize this for me, please tell me that's what I'm going to be able to know by the end of the day.
Definitely AI, Johnny. Definitely. It's like actually Notebook LM is something that's actually created by Google. We're just giving you a little bit of preview here, and you can actually dive into the thing. All right, AI, Johnny. Gemini Bridge.
The Gemini Bridge. Let me see. Ah, there we go. We went straight to our official language model before we even touch Notebook LM, and we asked Gemini's Google. Um, we asked it, what is the single most mind-blowing fact about Notebook LM right now? Sorry about that, Junior. I got ahead of myself.
You're good. You're good. You're good. This show is so exciting that people actually want to actually see what Notebook LM can do. What's interesting in Notebook LM, we have some amazing features. It also has some cons. So definitely can't wait to get to the Notebook LM. So yeah. So the most
So what did it
impressive.
say?
Yeah, so the most impressive feature about Notebook LM is that it actually has advanced text-to-speech capabilities that synthesize upload documents into realistic 10-minute audio podcasts where two AI hosts are bantering about the material, right? So it's actually pretty interesting how they're saying they can do this. Now, we actually started showing creating the notebook, and I've been doing this now for over an hour, right? And as you can see here, I put in today's show. We actually had the notes for today's show, and it actually is still in the middle of generating an audio overview. Now, hopefully, we will be able to get this before the actual show is over. I actually did one here, but we're gonna do a simpler one today in the real-time demo. So the point is, we're in the middle of actually taking the show that we did yesterday. This is local LLM Forge. We took the transcript of yesterday's show and we want to turn it into an audio podcast. So it's generating. It's been doing it over an hour. Let's see what happens before the show. Also,
don't worry about the response time, Junior. Before you get into what it's doing, I'm already getting some value out of this because it's not just taking your stuff and summarizing it, right? I can do that in Gemini or Grok, right? I can upload a document and say summarize it. What this is doing is it's taking it from text and turning it into speech, but not just speech, summarized speech, and not just summarized speech. Two people in a podcast talking about it. So in essence, if I'm driving to a meeting where I'm supposed to be fluent on a particular conversation, I could load that conversation into Notebook LL, wait for its elongated processing time. But what it's going to spit back to me is something I can listen to in the car.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So you're absolutely right. So here's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is we are going to take something very simple and see if it can actually do it on the fly. So I know you love photosynthesis, and it's seems like one of your favorite topics to talk about. So I just asked Gemini, give me some information on photosynthesis. Okay. So it has lots of information here. I'm just going to go ahead and take just the text from here. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go over to Notebook LM, right? So what I'm going to do is actually, let me drop the link for Notebook LM in the chat so everyone can actually follow along at home. So that's the link to Notebook LM. Hey, Furry, we actually see you. And Elevator, we see you in the stream. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so check this out, yeah, Johnny. So we actually are dropping in your favorite topic into Notebook LM. You can drop a document, you can drop pictures, you can drop anything you want into Notebook LM. Now, because we're dropping in photosynthesis here, we're just gonna save that itself inside as part of our, let's call it our sources. So it's keeping track of this chat. Now you have the ability to add things like documents. You can add images with this plus button over here. Let me make the Notebook LM is a little bit it's a rich app. So there's a lot of features that are actually here. So you actually see here, it actually has sources. It has all those things, and I can say, let me turn it into a document first. Let me turn this into a document. I'm just going to add the photosynthesis file. Download. So we're going to download the PDF. Let's download a PDF version of it. All right. Now we're using photosynthesis because obviously Johnny loves photosynthesis. But I'm going to take that same exact photosynthesis document and hit Add Sources, and we're going to go ahead and upload files. and I'm going to take that photosynthesis document. So now we're just added that photosynthesis document to NotebookLM, and it's actually understanding it. It says, okay, the alchemy of light, a guide to photosynthesis, all those things. Now, if you notice on the right, yeah, Johnny, how's the font size on this? Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Oh, it's really tiny now. Let me make this smaller and give you guys some more space over here, because this is what I want to focus on the right. Uh, All right, so this is the cool stuff. So it says, based on this document that I've uploaded, I can actually upload a bunch of sources. It's give me the option to, I can get an audio overview, I can get a slide deck, I can turn it into a video overview, I can turn it into a mind map, I can turn it into reports, flashcards, quiz, infographics, or data table, right? Now, AI Johnny, I don't want to necessarily go through audio overview to completion, but I'll show you what we're trying to do. So if you actually click audio overview, it gives you this guided search, guided, tutorial of saying, hey, workflow of what do you want to do? The first one is a deep dive. It says a lively conversation between two hosts unpacking the connecting topics of your source in your sources. And you can say, I want it to be short, I want it to be default, I want it to be long, and it can actually generate, and I can add some information here of what you want to focus on. So I could say on photosynthesis, I want you to focus on, how much sunlight gets absorbed by the plant. So, those are the things, or how long does it take to get, the plant to actually absorb it from start to end, whatever it is. I don't know much about photosynthesis, but the point is, you get to tell it what you want. You can say, I want a brief, bite-sized overview to help you grasp the core concept ideas from your sources. So the point is, you can actually go through an audio overview here. And we have all the other things. I can create a quiz. I can do an infographic. For fun, let's do an infographic, because I think that one might be the easiest to do. What do you think? Yeah, Johnny?
Well, regardless of how long it takes for the audio to come back, I think the power of Notebook LM is in these, I guess, these components of the studio, right? So
Correct.
while you were doing it, I grabbed the Bill of Rights, threw it in there, looked at the studio. I see I can get audio, slides, video, mind mapping, reports, flash, quiz seems pretty powerful. Infographics seems pretty powerful. And so from a student's perspective, this is not just, hey, here's some information I want to learn about. What I've learned about people that want to use AI for school is that you have to know a little bit about how to talk to the large language models by asking them maybe to, what's that term, Socratic?
Yeah.
I want to learn this information Socratically instead of just telling me and stuff, which becomes your work. I want you to tell me about the Bill of Rights, or I want you to tell me about photosynthesis, but I want to engage in a Socratic conversation with you. So it asks you questions and then waits for your answer. And so it's not telling you stuff, it's sort of prompting you to learn on your own, which is pretty cool. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you look at these elements of the studio, if you have information on whatever subject matter you're trying to learn, you can ask it to quiz you. You can ask it to show a mind map, to present it to you in a different way than just direct narrative. You can get one of these podcast audios where you're listening to two people argue about it. This is like it's almost like, let me know if I'm going off track here, Junior, but it almost seems like you're able to learn things using the notebook language model as opposed to the ChatGPT large language model. But you can learn it it can be presented in many different ways, and you can kind of learn stuff in stereo, right? So here's what I'm saying. If your objective is to learn, this is a powerful tool. If your objective is to write I don't know, contract, then yeah, maybe I don't need to see it in 27 different formats. But from a learning perspective, I think this thing is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think definitely you're onto what they're trying to do. They actually recognize that projects or folders or being able to curate a bunch of data sources together into one place is the actual goal, and to be able to synthesize that information into multiple formats is the actual key. So it's not only just the fact that we can actually take this turn it into audio, turn it into a slide, turn it into a video. You can actually have a conversation just as if you were talking about this photosynthesis document. Now let's pretend, for argument's sake, that it's, you're a biology teacher and you have, five things. You have a quiz that you want to create, or you have an infographic, and you have all those things from you want to have one cohesive lesson plan for that particular topic. So you don't want to be all over the place. So you can give multiple pieces of output data for that thing, and you can say, hey, I want to take only my sources from, say, for example, Wikipedia, or from whatever textbooks that you actually want to have. So you keep it grounded in that specific piece of information, and it doesn't try to go get random things outside the web. So it's actually pretty cool here.
My interface is well, I guess it's the same interface. I have Studio Tools over on the right. I have sources on the left. It looks like you might have your sources collapsed, right?
Yeah,
So
guess what?
when I fed it my information, it gave me all the sources that it was hitting. It gave me all the things, and then it says this middle window that it's calling chat. But this middle window is giving you the information about, which is the aggregated collection of all your sources, and then you can, I don't know. I'll let you move on from here, because I'm talking about the Bill of Rights and you're talking about photosynthesis. So let's just stick to your end.
Yeah, so photosynthesis actually came back. So what I did while we actually got an infographic, and this, remember, we took in that document about photosynthesis. It actually summarized that source in the chat for us, and then I actually said, give me a infographic. Now this infographic came back. So guys, I've never seen this before, so let's see what it actually does. All right. Something didn't load correctly. There you go. So this, I told it to give it in pastel colors. Let me zoom in a little bit on that. So it actually had the chloroplast. Now, again, I don't know anything about biology, so I'm just going to read literally here. So it actually has water and carbon dioxide. It has the CO2 molecules, the water molecules, six of them. You get one glucose molecule of oxygen. It's actually pretty good, right? It's able to generate that. So the fact that we were able to take our source documents, synthesize it, and actually generate something all in one tool is actually pretty cool, right? Let me see if we haven't gotten our audio back. It's still generating. Let's look at the other one we did earlier, and hopefully by the end of the show it will actually come back. So AI Johnny, let's actually get to the word of the day, because the concept itself of NotebookLM, once we actually understand the concept, everything else becomes clear.
You got it. Today the word of the day is source grounding, which is the mechanism that ensures that an AI model only pulls information from a specific files that you have provided, rather than its general training data. I could see great power in that.
Exactly. So source grounding is why NotebookLM is so powerful for students and professionals. Unlike a standard large language model, an LLM, that might hallucinate or pull random facts from the internet, NotebookLM restricts its inference entirely to the documents you upload. If it's not in the transcript from yesterday, if it's not in the photosynthesis document, the AI will not talk about it. So you actually get really, really, really good information based on what you're actually grounding. So I really like this here, Johnny.
Well, it's a great. The ability to limit it. I'm always worried when I'm using a standard language model. Is it going to give me too much information? Is it going to give me a stochastic parrot, or is it going to hallucinate? But if you're saying that I can have very specific information, my syllabus, my textbook, my homework, my whatever, my past exams, and they can use only that as the source when it's talking back to me, I would think it would be a very powerful thing, because
Definitely.
I'm not going outside of the guardrails of the class.
Exactly. So let's talk about the superpowers of the actual tool. So the killer features here. So if you look at the studio menu on the right-hand side, so I'm going to actually bring up NotebookLM, the student. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see. This is the actual power of it. This is the killer feature. So if you actually have the patience, this audio overview itself is actually a really, really powerful feature. Just like AI Johnny mentioned, if you have a lot of information you want to listen to a podcast format where two hosts are actually talking, this is a really, really great way to listen to it. You also have the ability to turn it into a video overview. So they have video overview over here where you can actually create an explainer video. Let's actually try that one to see if it actually will work. So cinematic or explainer. Let's do an explainer video. Let's generate, and hopefully it actually comes back before the show is done. So, turning your
While that generates, I want to go back and reiterate the whole idea of using artificial intelligence as a learning tool, as opposed to learning artificial intelligence as I don't want to use the word plagiarism or cheating tool, but if you're taking material for classroom or even in business, or writing a book, if you say, and the artificial intelligence writes the entire book for you, and then you put your name on the cover, seems a little plagiaristic to me. But if you're using these interactive outputs where you're listening to, you're not going to sell the podcast. Maybe you are, but you're not going to. If you're asking it to quiz you and you're asking it to share this information with me in an audio format, and you're catching it into your brain in several different formats, you're actually using what I call the Socratic method, to use artificial intelligence as a teaching tool as opposed to as a cheating tool. So the more I see this, as like one of the main tools that you should be recommending in schools for students to become proficient at, because it's going to help them learn as opposed to help them lean on AI to do their work for them.
exactly.
I know I said that before, but you got to say things 17 times before they stick.
Exactly. All right. So Dr. Silver actually in the chat said sometimes when generating an audio or video overview, Notebook LM will keep running forever. If you refresh the page, it should resolve the issue if the artifact had already been generated. So thanks, Dr. Silva, for that. I did refresh the page on it multiple times. It didn't come back, but I did refresh it on this go, and it actually did say audio overview generation failed on this side. So I just reran that as well. It's still going forever for generating the infographics, and on this one, it is still generating the video overview. Let's actually refresh it to see if that came back yet. Still generating. All right, yeah, Johnny. So the other killer
Dr.
features.
Silva, you answered my next question, which was, is Notebook LM being used heavily in the college environment? And it sounds like it's being used at least by you. Am I right?
Yes, I do use it. I do use it with some students. And some students use it for studying for sure. That's a great tool for the quizzes and as a source that they can help them learn the material. But again, just like with any other AI tool, it can also be used just to replace the critical thinking that we expect them to develop in class. So, but yes, if the student use it in a responsible way, it can be a great tool.
An
Def-
ethical way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. The other thing I want to point out while we're waiting for Junior's thing to compile is that one of the other things that I like about Notebook LM is that it's a Google tool. What I'm starting to find out in the educational environment is that a lot of schools and universities are standardizing on Google tools because they have such great tools and such a wide collection. If you want your students to be using AI to ask questions like you can do with any LLM, but also to make images, to also make videos, also use it as a study guide. Also, we make your PowerPoint presentations. You might end up reviewing 100 different applications that are all over the spectrum. But Google has Nano Banana. They make great images. It has VO3. They make great videos. It has Notebook LM that makes a great study guide. So it has Gemini, which is a great large language model. So I don't know what tools the students are using, but I have seen a migration in the way of Google tools kind of have like an asterisk over them, because then you go to one place, google.com, and you could see your Nano Banana, your notebook, your video, and so on. So it's just a side thought. There might be something that makes better images or makes better Google Slides down the road. But for now, I think that teaching AI standardized to Google's will get you through 80% of what you need to teach kids if they're going to be using AI as an aid to learn more, in my humble opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, Johnny. All right, so let's get back to the killer features. So the killer features itself for this particular thing, another thing is study materials. So with one click, it can generate interactive quizzes, flashcards, and detailed reports to test your knowledge, just like how Dr. Silver said, and visual aids, right? It can automatically map out complex relationships by generating a mind map or an infographic or even a slide deck or even a table for presentations. So it's actually pretty good.
So it's like having an entire production team and a tutor in one box. So, Junior, remind the folks what we mean by a prompt in this specific interface.
Yeah, so great catch, AI Johnny. I want to actually definitely make sure that people actually remember what these things are. So anytime you're interacting with a large language model, right? You're never really interacting with it directly. They usually put some interface in front of you. So most people actually are familiar with ChatGPT and they're actually talking to it on their phone or they're typing into some kind of text box. That is the actual prompt. So in terms of Notebook LM, the prompt itself is actually broken up into two parts here. So the middle part is the actual first part, is the chat or the interactive part, but you also can attach sources to the actual prompt as well, making up your entire context, right? So you actually have the ability to put all those things. So it's like, handing a highly specific food order ticket at the head of the chef in the kitchen. But in Notebook LLM, you're actually using these studio buttons as a way to essentially say, I want to execute these complex prompts in kind of like a pre-written format for you. So it kind of guides you into where you need to do. So you don't have to be an expert in filling out all the details of what you need. If you need an infographic, you actually get all of that. All right. Now, guess what, AI Johnny? Even though we actually have the good things on Notebook LM, there are some negatives. Let's get to the
Oh, there
negatives.
are?
Yeah,
Well, let's
unfortunately.
get real. Where does it break?
Yeah.
Where does it break, brother? What are the limitations?
Yeah, so the first thing, obviously, we're showing it actually here in the class today. The audio generation is not instant, right? So we actually are waiting on our audio. It actually failed one time. It took over an hour to actually fail. Also, same thing with the photosynthesis. Let me see where if it actually did anything. It's still generating the video, so it is very slow. Now, if you actually need to do something and actually come back and, like Dr. Silva said, just keep refreshing the page and you're patient, I am sure this is going to be an excellent feature. They may actually just be having a slight outage or high demand today, so we're not going to knock them too much. We'll probably give you an overview later in the class or sometime next class for talking about the details on what came back or even preview it together.
It's just as powerful to show the limitations and that this thing takes a while to churn out as it is to show them what it's churning out. Because if we just show them what it churns out and they get the experience that this is a hassle-free tool when it has these speed bumps in it. So, I mean, I'm actually glad. I mean, I'm sure it will come back. And when people go in and they use it, it obviously does what it claims it's going to do, but it doesn't always do it fast. So, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to bang on these tools and see what they do and how fast they do it.
Exactly. And the last one, yeah, John, you want to take the last con?
Is that the document limits?
Definitely.
While generous, you can upload a certain number of sources and tokens per notebook. But if you're trying to upload an entire university library in one chat, it will eventually hit a wall, like most tools. But they're going to have to remove that wall if you're going to be using it as a study aid, and if you don't want to have access to the entire data set of Gemini, and you want to have this 400-page textbook, they're going to have to remove that wall at some point, but it's not removed yet.
Exactly. Let's actually get into the pricing because obviously people always want to know about the pricing, So let's talk about what does this thing really cost. So before we actually get into the thing of cost, this is a Google product. So if you guys have seen the pattern already, Google is actually following a simple pattern. The Google pattern is either everything is free or they actually give you some kind of paid tier for something. So it actually follows the same pattern. So yeah, Jen, let's take a look at the actual
Sure.
pricing tier.
Sure. Well, because you're seeing it on our show, you're almost certainly seeing the free version. So they have this thing called the Dabbler. It's $0 for anyone with a Google account, which is most people. You can access Notebook LM. You can upload documents, and you can generate these mind-blowing studio formats.
Yep.
But then there's a thing called the Side Hustler, Junior.
Yeah, so if you actually look on the screen here, so Notebook LM itself, they're really following the Google AI plan, and the Google AI plan itself is really, if you think about it, they break it up into always the Plus, the Pro, and the Ultra, right? So if you actually on the Ultra plan, that's the $250 per month. They give you as much as you can all the way to the to using Notebook LM, but because we actually want you guys to focus on if you're just a dabbler and you just want to use for free, the free version itself will be good enough. So you can actually have access to Google's Gemini model. You have access to your account like AI Johnny said, and you actually just upload a few documents. Now if you're a side hustler and you don't necessarily want to spend too much money, they do have the Notebook LM Plus plan. And on that side hustler plan, that it gives you a little bit more usage limits, allowing you for more massive documents and fast generating times. And it's perfect for researchers and creators. Again, like if you're the powerhouse and you actually want to be able to use it as much as possible, we'll definitely recommend going with the Ultra plan. It's a little bit pricey, but definitely that will give you the most bang for your buck in terms of generating all the audio and all the videos that you actually need. All right, AI
So for
Johnny.
the price of a pizza, you can get the Peer Plus plan, and it's like having a digital research assistant that works weekends. So I mean, if you do throw money at it, it's like your return on investment is pretty substantial.
Definitely. And as you can see, guys, I'm just still checking to see if Notebook LM came back. I would love to actually hear the audio version of that podcast.
Well, what do you say we go through the deeper dive, and you can get everybody hypnotized with your tech jargon, and then we'll come back and see it then.
Sure.
Plug your ears if you don't care about back end magic. You can just sort of tune out. Junior, tell us what is under the hood of Notebook LM. What advanced features are happening here?
All right, guys. So remember, this is a AI class, right? So all the stuff that we've been showing you is, we showed you the tool, but behind the scenes, what's really going on. So for my technical folks who actually care about this stuff, this is going to be really interesting. So Notebook LM is really just a brilliant RAG pipeline. So RAG means retrieval augmented generation. What happened was way back then when context sizes was really, really small, they needed to figure out how to fit in all the documents into context. So people would actually try to add, certain things like, a book here or a chapter here and not actually have the entire thing. So solutions were created of saying, hey, let's go ahead and break the thing down into different sections. So that's the invention of the RAG, right? Retrieval augmented generation. So by doing that, there were lots of architectures that got created to be able to solve that problem. So when you upload a transcript or you upload a document like what we did, the system breaks it down into pieces. And the reason why it breaks it down into pieces is because not everything can actually fit into context. So it breaks it down to pieces and it actually stores it into a database. Those databases itself is a vector database. That vector database itself is a multi-dimensional embedding database that actually figures out mathematically where things belong in what's known as its latent space. All right. So now when you actually do a search, you say, I want to talk about photosynthesis. It says, oh, I know exactly which document to find that. It goes to that section of the documents that is actually broke up. It brings that into the context window, and then it's able to actually give you that information based on what it found in that section, right? So if, say, for example, you have 10, 20, 30,000 documents that you need to actually index, you could technically do it because it's not bringing all 10, 20, 30,000 documents into the context window at one time. It actually is indexing it first. Once it indexes it, it breaks it up, and then it actually only pulls in that portion of what you're actually asking about. So finally, the semantic search is you don't have to use exact words because it's using that same exact vector database. It knows the relationship between words. So you don't have to use keywords as you would normally say, let me find what word did I use again. You don't have to worry about that. It actually uses semantic search to understand that relationship. So when you search for something, it actually brings that thing in based on its relationship. So that's really it. Yeah, Johnny, how many people
Great
have
takeaways, brother. Or did you get your audio file back?
let's see. Let's refresh that video. So video is still generating. It says will take a while. Let's see what happens on the audio file here. Nothing yet. And then on to the last one. It's still going. All right, that's fine. Let's go to key
Do you know what that
takeaways.
means? Do you know what that means? It means it's time for the key takeaways.
Sure, let's go.
All right, so why should anybody use NotebookLM? On the creative and business side, one of the uses is you can upload your competitors' white papers and instantly generate a mind map of their strategy so that you can become a better competitor of theirs.
I
Any
love
thoughts
that.
on that, Junior?
I love that. That's interesting.
We don't have any competitors, so we can't do that yet. Upload a client's annual report and generate an audio overview and listen to it on your commute. So if you want to be a good vendor, you should know more about your clients and instead of listening to people talk about celebrities and stuff, you can be listening about your clients as a form of entertainment using this tool. And you can also dump all your brand guidelines into one notebook and generate a perfectly accurate slide deck. So this is great for people that are looking for info decks, or if you have to give a presentation on a stage. NotebookLM is useful for that. There are literally 25 things that I can come up with off the top of my head. But what about tech stuff, Junior? You got any technical things that we can do here?
Definitely, but I want to say something about the third one that you actually mentioned with brand guidelines. A lot of people don't realize this. So AI has the ability now to generate constant content for you. And what's happening is I'm seeing is a lot of people are actually just generating content without a consistent brand or theme. And one day you'll see a post that looks one way, then you'll see another post that looks another way, and you're like, they're just generating content constantly, not grounding it in the actual brand identity or the brand voice, right? So I really love that you actually brought it up, AI Johnny, because if you actually have the ability to say, hey, this is my brand's voice or my brand's image or my brand's theme, stay consistent with it. So I love the fact that you brought that one up. On the technical side, if you actually have, I see that in the chat, Shana, thank you. All right, so on the technical side, you can upload a dense API documentation for a new framework and ask how to actually specific format, how to actually, how do you format a specific request, right? So it's usually sometimes hard to try to piece together that curl request on your own. So you can actually do it automatically. Next one is you can drop in, say, for example, financial PDF documents and have it locate anomalies and build like a data table. You can do things like, upload your company's legacy, your company's you can actually upload your company's legacy IT manual, and when a server crashes itself, you can ask the notebook itself the exact recovery protocol for the flashcard feature. So it's actually pretty cool. All right,
All
yeah,
right,
Johnny.
Q&A, right?
Yep, definitely. Does anybody have any questions in the Zoom chat? We're gonna go to the live stream a second, but does anybody have any questions in the chat for anything about Notebook LM? All right,
Got
yeah,
a
Jenny.
great question from StudyBug.
Sure, let's go ahead.
I like this question. If I upload my personal diary, is Google reading it to train its AI?
All
Gotta
right.
let my 13-year-old know your answer, brother.
Yeah. So one thing I want to be very clear, and I should have brought this up on yesterday's show. So yesterday's show we talked about Gemma 4. And the reason why I should have brought this up on Gemma 4 is the following. Is Gemma 4 to compete with the Chinese models, the models that are coming out of China is actually quite impressive, and they're all going open source. And the US is sticking with a proprietary closed source models, except Facebook. So I'll give Facebook its credit, or Meta. So on yesterday's show, what was happening was there was a very a very different mindset what Google did with Gemma 4. And for Gemma 4, what they did was they did something that I didn't see or didn't expect. And again, I should have brought this up on the show, is that the output of the model that you're using is yours to use, commercial use for free, and you don't have to worry about it. All the other models and the American models, they usually have this little stipulation saying if you're using our models, you have to actually, pay for either something to get your data unlocked or not watermarked, those other things. So Gemma actually did something really, really impressive. Now, almost all the Chinese models that actually are releasing the Quen, the DeepSeek models, they're almost always you can use it for commercial use because they're open source. So to answer the person's question is what seems to be happening is it depends on the usage and the model and the tier that you're using. So to answer your question is if you're using a free version of something, anything, always assume, and you'll be safe on this, always assume that your content will be used for retraining purposes, that your content will be used for another use, because when you upload the content, it is not yours, right? You're kind of giving Google a perpetual license to actually use it or using whoever model you're using. If you pay for something, then chances are, depending on the tier that you're in, you actually will get commercial rights to it or not be used for retraining. So I just want to be very, 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 very clear that that your personal data, if it's free, might always be used. Now, in the case of NotebookLM, I think it's used just for your session. But again, I want you guys to always check the terms and conditions to actually be 100% certain because they're changing terms and conditions very quickly. All right, yeah,
As a
Johnny.
general rule, I threw it in the chat. If the product is free, you are the product.
Yeah. Yeah, always remember that, guys. If the product is free, like yeah, Johnny's saying, you are the products there. They're probably going to be using your data in some fashion to make money from it. All right, yeah, Johnny. Any other question?
Yeah, I got one here. Can NotebookLM directly connect to a live database or API for real-time data ingestion? This would be really useful for my NBA scores and my real-time weather for my flight instruction.
Yeah.
Can that happen yet?
No, so it only relies on static data that you actually upload. So unfortunately, that's not there yet. But I'm sure there's probably going to be an API that you can actually, pull and extract data from to try to get data in. But right now, it's not there.
The fact that it can't do it, don't worry, folks. It's only Tuesday.
Yeah. These things change so fast. And NotebookLM is actually one of Google's older products. So it's actually quite mature. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's actually get to the news.
Okay. Real quick, let's hit it. Sam Altman proposes the new AI deal. It sounds like something that Truman did. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman just published a massive proposal to handle the societal shift caused by superintelligence. To offset job displacement, he's calling for a 32-hour work week and the creation of a public wealth-funded fund partnered with AI companies so citizens get a direct stake in AI profit. Sounds a little bit like UBI to me, but who put Sam in charge?
Yeah. What's next, AI, Johnny?
Axon upgrades public safety with artificial intelligence. Announced today at Axon Week 2026, Axon introduced new AI tools, including Axon Vision and Axon Assistant, I'll get those, to tackle the massive data overload in public safety. These tools analyze live body camera feeds and 911 calls in real time to detect incidents earlier and help officers respond faster. Wasn't there a Tom Cruise movie that did this? Minority Report?
Minority Report, definitely.
And new state chatbot laws are enacted. This week, the governors of Oregon and Idaho, not surprisingly, officially signed new bills regulating AI chatbots into law. Oregon's new law is particularly notable because it includes a private right of action with statutory damages regarding AI use. Meanwhile, Tennessee also just enacted a new law specifically targeting healthcare AI. We knew this was coming.
Yeah, the laws are definitely coming in AI, Johnny. You know what? The tech is moving so fast that the laws are going to be way behind. So we'll see what happens when all this shakes out. I'm just checking last before the actual show is over to see what is actually there. I just refreshed the page last time. This one's not back. Let's see if this one's back. Let's see what it got. Did not come back. And let's see the photosynthesis one. Did it come back? And it did not come back. All right, we'll catch you guys up in that next time.
If your goal is to see a spinning hourglass, log into NotebookLM today. I think we have heard that it does come back, though, from our doctor on board.
Definitely.
You know, we have a massive news day. Honestly, right after the show, I'm gathering all the unrated self-help books I bought in 2025, dumping them into NotebookLM and listening to them as a podcast on my drive home. I'm going to tell it to limit it to 20 minutes. To the team at Google NotebookLM, we know you are watching. Our students are hungry to master this. If you want to partner with Airhead Institute to help make your product faster and to create the ultimate mastering NotebookLM series, we're here. We're ready to talk. Tune in tomorrow, Wednesday, April 8th, because we are shifting into our Solopreneur Systems workshop with an episode called The Visual Identity. We'll be using an AI image generator to take a flat sketch and place it into a high-end studio lighting setup. Don't miss that, 2D to 3D. Junior, what say you?
All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Remember, all these AI classes are free live, and you can ask questions over Zoom or over live stream. Sign up for a free account to RSVP to get reminders for all our shows at www.airheadinstitute.ai and support us by becoming a paid member. Also, invite a friend to stop by and watch an episode. Guys, keep building.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead after-school program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.